Good afternoon, everyone. I now call this meeting to order. I'm Ann Snyder, the current president of the Board of Trustees, and I'd like to welcome you to the informal 2020 annual gathering of the membership of the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa. Due to the coronavirus emergency, we're doing things a little differently this year. We're holding an informal Zoom meeting today, March 29th, which will be followed by a formal meeting when we once again gather at the center. We'll start our time together today with an invocation by Diane Tapania. Diane?
So taking this time now, we become still, and if you're comfortable, maybe even close your eyes and take a nice deep breath so that we can together let go of all that has become before. And in this way, we can settle into the present moment. And here in this moment, this is the place where we can turn within to know the one life, the one spirit, the one creative power, that which is ever present and all-knowing, giving itself to all of life as unconditional love. I know that this love reaches out through all, to all in every moment. And within it contains that divine intelligence that orders the universe, that brings solutions to all that need them. And I know that each of us here in this meeting today are a perfect aspect of this divine life. We each are a vessel for this creative power, a channel for this unconditional love. So I speak this word of prayer for and about this meeting today, as I know that it is beautifully expressing as love, that it is grounded in peace, that it is expressing divine wisdom, and that every aspect of the Center for Spiritual Living, its members, its community, its business, is taking place in this divine field of peace and love. So I'm remembering that all I need to do at this moment is to trust in that divine spirit, that which is everywhere present, guiding all of this. And for the realization and recognition of this truth, I give thanks, and I release this word of prayer into the divine receptive one that says yes, absolutely yes. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Diane. The Board of Trustees begins every meeting with a reading of our sacred covenant. Our sacred covenant of the Board of Trustees, Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa. Our identity at the Board of Trustees is to be completely humble, gentle, and patient with one another in love. We make every effort to keep the unity of spirit through the bond of peace. We each perceive that we are one with all people and all are one with us. There is no separation. Our vision is unity. Our purpose is expressing love through service. To embrace spirit, our intentions are to embrace spiritual principle and practice as the foundation of our activities. To maintain a big picture awareness. To articulate our vision, values, and philosophy. To maintain a high level of service and stewardship. To be ambassadors of the center. To communicate open and regularly. And so it is. The purpose of our informal meeting today is to be in compliance with our bylaws, which require that we hold our annual meeting each year in the month of March. So we also want to ensure the continuity of the Board of Trustees by appointing the new trustees today. Many of our members are attending today via the Zoom meeting, which will be recorded. When the current emergency situation has passed, the board will determine a new date for our formal annual meeting, which will be held at the center. All members will receive notice of that meeting by U.S. mail. At our formal annual meeting, the floor will be open for nominations The slate of candidates will be presented, and there will be a call for a motion from the floor to accept the slate of new trustees. I'd like to offer our gratitude and acknowledge those who have assisted in putting this meeting together today. It's different this year because of the uniqueness of the format. Alan Yeager, our communications officer, Linda Han, our chief operating officer, Bob Hart, our treasurer, volunteers Jan Davis, Stephen Han, and David Reichert, and of course, our beloved Dr. Edward Fillion, who has been working 18-hour days or more since this crisis began. Thank you, Edward. We now wait for a round of applause. Now turn our attention to matters of finance. It is my honor to introduce our treasurer, Bob Hart, to present our financial report. Bob?
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our first online annual meeting. My name is Bob Hart, and I am just finishing my first year as your treasurer. One of the privileges of this position is to introduce you to our outside CPA, Mark McDonald. Mark has been coming to the center annually since 2012. He reviews our annual financial statements, then he presents his findings, first to the Stewardship Committee and then to the Board of Trustees. This year, at his board presentation, we began our meeting with a silent meditation. As I glanced over at Mark, I could see that he was thoroughly into it. A CPA who meditates. What more could we ask for? Please welcome Mark McDonald.
Our annual membership meeting would normally coincide with the beginning of baseball season, but due to the international virus pandemic, the baseball season is hanging in the balance. To commemorate the dubious baseball season, I have included a few baseball inferences in my comments about the center's financial reporting. A baseball game has an umpire or umpires to ensure the game is played according to the rules. Similarly, the center's financial reporting process has me, Mark McDonald, local certified public accountant. I review the center's annual financial statements by meeting with the center's staff and stewards, making financial inquiries, performing analytical procedures, and forming a conclusion about whether the center's financial statements are truthful and conform to the financial presentation and disclosure standards established in our country. This review follows standards established by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. My conclusion is that indeed the center's financial statements are truthful and conform to all the financial reporting requirements. They have my seal of approval. Congratulations to the center's staff and stewards who work hard to maintain a tradition of financial reporting excellence at the center. The center's financial statements tell a story. They reveal the assets the center owns, the financial obligations it must pay, the support raised from membership, and the expenses incurred to serve the membership. And I've been around the center long enough now to observe a history of very consistent financial support from the center's membership. This consistent support is important because it allows the center's ministers and staff to confidently plan the scale of celebration services, education, and youth and family programs that the center offers. Congratulations to the membership for making your center financially stable. Your treasurer will provide more color on the center's financial trends during our membership meeting. If you would like more information, the center's reviewed financial statements and my independent accountant's seal of approval are posted on the center's website. Financial statements contain important information, but the importance varies depending on the nature of the entity. For a business created for profit-making purposes, the financial statements may be the ultimate yardstick for evaluating performance because they report profit or loss. But for a church, profit or loss is not the ultimate yardstick of performance. A church's objective is to serve, and its members responses to those services is what really constitutes the ultimate yardstick of performance. What is your spiritual batting average? Is your spiritual batting average growing, and are you knocking it out of the park once in a while? We will only know by playing the game of life. So let's play ball. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Having been in this position as your treasurer now for a year, I have a confession to make. When I raised my hand a year ago and said, oh, yes, yes, I want to be a treasurer, I had no idea what I was getting into. As it turns out for me, learning to navigate this world of accounting has been like a cross between learning a new language and learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons. On one hand, you have all these new words to learn, like restricted donation and prudent reserve and ROI, COG, P&L, and so on. And on the other hand, you have all these numbers, hundreds and hundreds of numbers. And every month, Mitzi enters these numbers into the general ledger. And then Mitzi and Linda disperse the numbers into the monthly financial reports. And every number has a little box that it goes into, all according to accounting rules and guidelines. Just when you're about to get a handle on it, it's the next month, and here come hundreds and hundreds of more numbers. Now, there are people who understand this stuff, and I like to think of them as my own personal dungeon masters. You would know them as the Stewardship Committee. The Stewardship Committee is a committee of the board that is made up of highly dedicated people who meet every month and go over all of these numbers and make sure they are all in the right places and handled in the right way. And then they report to the Board of Trustees their findings. Without them, we would be like a ship without a rudder. So I'd like to introduce them to you. Sherry Lester, Jeff Basham, Jim Thomason, Carol Shields, Ken McCauley, Jan Davis, Linda Han, and Mitzi Hughes. I cannot adequately describe how much dedication and how many hours these stewards put into their work. We are all so very lucky to have them. Please, let's all just take them into our hearts and send them some love. These are the folks who make it possible for me as your treasurer to be able to present to you the membership, the financial condition of the center. The following overview will look at our assets and liabilities, followed by our income and expenses, each with a comparison between the year 2018 year-end and year-end 2019. The first chart is titled Balance Sheet, the center's assets. As you can see, it is very similar to 2018 and 2019. The large orange piece is the depreciated value of our land, building, and equipment. Perhaps the biggest change is in the red and blue pieces, cash and CDs. These two taken together represent the monies we need for daily operations, plus what is called our prudent reserve. The prudent reserve is maintained for unexpected expenses and also for planned large expenses. What we realized in 2019 was that we were getting very little return on this pool of money. Most of it was in bank savings accounts with a modest amount in CDs. But the CDs had very low returns. The stewards examined this and recommended to the board that approximately $300,000 of this reserve money be invested with the following guidelines. Number one, do not risk the principal. Number two, ensure a reasonable degree of liquidity. And number three, maximize the return within the guidelines of the first two conditions. Toward this end, we purchased 6 CDs in equal $50,000 amounts and staggered the maturity dates of the CDs such that $50,000 would mature every 6 months. Before we move on, please note the green piece of this pie. These are the legacy funds. We had a significant increase in the value of this investment in 2019. Because these funds are long-term investments, the value is expected to fluctuate over time. It is important to emphasize that these funds represent an investment in the future of the center and are not considered a part of our everyday financial resources. This next chart represents our liabilities and equity. The two biggest and most important items in this chart are the reduction in the amount of the mortgage and the increase in our equity, both of these being good things. The next two charts you're going to see present the sources of our income, where the money comes from, and then finally, where the money goes. In the sources of income chart, the first item, the big blue piece, is without doubt the most significant of all the information I am presenting today. Your contributions represent the major source of revenue for the center. This figure over the years has remained amazingly consistent in a time when many churches and nonprofits are struggling to maintain their financial basis. You, all of you, have demonstrated your consistent financial support for our spiritual home. This final chart showing our expenses is remarkable in terms of the consistency year to year and also in terms of how the different departments have kept their expenses down in 2019. If you just take a minute and look at these figures, 2018 compared to 2019, you can see how similar they are. What small changes there are have been mostly in the direction of reduced expenses. Note that the tithes figure is practically identical to the year before. And that again is because of your consistent support, since tithes are based on the percentage of your contributions. The fundraising figure is up, but this is money that was spent to raise money, and we raised more money than we spent. In summary, I can say with confidence that as of December 31st, 2019, your center was well managed and in sound financial health. I want to conclude today by sharing with you some of the things that the center accomplished in 2019. This is by no means a complete list. In fact, I requested from different department heads that they submit, one or two things that they were really proud of that happened over 2019. And what I got were a ton of things. So I had to cherry pick. And I need also to apologize to all of you who did wonderful things in 2019 that aren't included on this list, but just know that you were appreciated nonetheless. We tithed over $25,000 to our nonprofit partners. We tithed over $76,000 in support of Science of Mind, Home Office. We provided over $5,000 to our members through our member assistance program. MAP Fire Relief distributed $4,648 to members. We provided $2,104 to Paradise CSL for fire relief. Paid off $60,000 on our mortgage. Through Project Sleep Warm, we provided 20 sleeping bags, 6 comforters, 26 hand-knit teddy bears to the living room, 10 baby quilts, 40 baby blankets, 20 baby bibs, and 13 nursing cover-ups for the baby closet. Days for Girls provided 119 menstrual kits to Days for Girls. We launched a new and improved Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa website, held our third successful annual NOC event, raising over $17,000 in 2019 and $50,000 over the last 3 years. Upgraded the electrical system on the stage for the music department. Resurfaced the west parking lot. Fully funded 16 teens and 5 counselors to attend teen camps. Provided spiritual education classes with 713 class seats filled. conducted 290 heart and hand hospice and hospital visits, plus 78 telephone support calls, 121 grief and loss support contacts, answered 3,016 prayer requests placed in the prayer request box, 262 jail ministry visits plus 2 weekly classes involving 67 inmates. Held a community Seder with Rabbi George Gittleman and Rabbi Stephanie Kramer for just under 100 community members. Held a successful volunteer appreciation bingo luncheon. And the Spanish-speaking outreach program provided translated videos and affirmative prayers and is now reaching as many as 40,000 people with each post in 28 countries in the United States. So I would like to end today by thanking all of you once again for your ongoing support of the center.
It's impressive, is it not? I'd now like to introduce our current Board of Trustees. For terms ending March 2020, that's today, Lynn Rubush, our Vice President, Alicia Carroll, myself, Ann Snyder, President. For the terms ending March 2021, Barbara Froelich, David Powers, Robin Zolotov. For terms ending 2022, March of 2022, Julie Burns, Bob Hart, Treasurer, and Nancy Reynolds.
It's my pleasure to introduce the 3 nominees for our open positions on our Board of Trustees. Once again, it has been a privilege to meet and speak with all of the interested applicants. On behalf of the nominating committee, who are Ann Snyder, David Powers, and Nancy Reynolds, I'd like to thank everyone who applied and are interested in serving our beloved center in such an important way. My thanks also to Drs. Reverend Scioto Bell and Erica Palazzo, who served as our practitioner and layperson on the committee. Thank you to all. Now for our nominees. Our first nominee, Marianne Granieri. Marianne Granieri probably doesn't need much introduction, as she has been an active member of our center since 1990, when she came to witness our beloved Maggie Cole as she became a new member. Marianne felt right at home after that and started coming regularly and taking classes. She says she has been on her own spiritual path for as long as she can remember. She studied with Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, Reverend David Alt, our precious Dr. Edward, as well as many more. She also studied directly with Don Miguel Ruiz at one point in her life, co-leading spiritual tours in Peru and Mexico. I'm sure you know that Marianne is one of the founders of our very successful welcoming team and has helped put that all together, and we're all reaping benefits from that. She has also volunteered in the nursery part of the Youth and Family Ministry and is a member of our AIDS Life Cycle team. Marianne is a physical therapist working with various populations, most recently with the very young and an early intervention model. She is also a trained Feldenkrais practitioner. Marianne shared during the application process for the board that she has a favorite quote. It is from Don Miguel Ruiz, and I'm quoting, "When you know that the power that is life is inside you, you accept your divinity, and yet you are humble because you see the same divinity in everyone else." This is a guiding principle and practice for Marianne. She says it allows her perspective to shift. She writes, "I'm aware that each person sees through a unique point of view that is worth listening to. Seeing the importance of self-acceptance and supporting others in their own self-acceptance is a characteristic and strength that I believe I bring to the center." What a gift Marianne brings us. We are very grateful she has said yes to this calling to serve on the Board of Trustees. So, community, I give you Marianne Granieri. Our next nominee is Kate Luna. Kate Luna describes herself as a serial entrepreneur. Here is a partial list of careers she has been involved with. Manager of Soho Charcuterie in New York City, creation and maintenance of a rural school library in Cazadero, California, Sonoma State instructor of spoken word performance, creative writing teacher and coach, professional storyteller touring on both coasts as an NPR guest and host of the storytelling show for Northern California Radio, a jewelry designer and mixed media artist. She currently is a public speaking coach. She is an accomplished fundraiser and has run many successful fundraising campaigns. Her most current one is providing aid at the border in Matamoros, Mexico, where there are 2,000 asylum seekers living in tents. So far, they have established a resource center with a small medical center, legal team, and trauma specialists. Kate has been coming to the center a little over 5 years now. Like Marianne, she too volunteers on the welcoming team and says that she feels it is a great fit for her. She really enjoys it. She's hoping to volunteer her public speaking coaching to new ministers in our movement sometime in the near future. Kate says each time she takes a class here, listens to a talk, or sings from her heart the music that we are blessed with at our center, she comes away with another stepping stone on her path, a coming home to what is true and possible. She speaks fondly of her grandmother who taught her unconditional love and whose last words to her were, "Love is the only power there is, just love." Kate shares that she is motivated by her love for what she does and for those she serves. We are fortunate that she has chosen to follow her grandmother's words and share her love for our center by serving on the Board of Trustees. Community, I give you Kate Luna. Our third nominee is Dinah Withrich. And yes, it is Dinah, as in Dinah Shore. Brings a great deal of experience working with diverse groups. She owned her own business for 7 years, managing a large workforce. She worked as an elementary school district secretary, and I don't need to tell you that I don't know how they do what they do. And she worked at our Santa Rosa Junior College since 1996, retiring just this past December. In her last position at the JC, she was the sole support person for a 50-plus faculty and their students, including managing 20 temporary student employees per semester. She also served as secretary at Knox Presbyterian Church in Santa Rosa for 14 years in her past. Dinah took her first class at our center in 2011, and she hasn't looked back since. She has been a member of our beloved One Heart Choir for 6 years. She helps sell tickets to our big events and helps at those events as well. She also has assisted her best friend, Alicia, with several of our big events, including our favorite senior minister's wedding. Until this last year, Dinah has served as one of our laypersons on the board's nominating committee. Dinah says she feels that one of her biggest attributes is her compassionate heart and that volunteering is part of who I am, she says. She has a lifelong history of volunteering. She and Alicia were quite a team when their kids were at Elsie Island High School. For several years, they were co-presidents of the Safe Grad Nights, and they also helped create a group called Connections that worked hard to bring their community together and was a big success. Throughout all of these many experiences, Dinah has always maintained a great sense of humor. She really is very funny. She brings these skills, her heart connections, and sense of humor to her new position as a board trustee, and we thank her for it all. Community, I give you Dinah Withrich. Thank you. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. Your Board of Trustees has accepted the recommendation of our nominating committee and now appoints this slate of candidates to fill the vacancies of the trustees whose terms end today, pending a vote by the membership at our formal meeting in the future. We'd now like to take a moment to thank our outgoing trustees. Each will receive a trustee emeritus badge. When you see a person wearing such a badge, they're silver, you will know that they have served on the board and they're likely to be able to answer all of your questions. Trustees are invited to join the alumni trustee group, which meets quarterly to maintain camaraderie. So please welcome trustee Robin Zolotoff to thank Alicia Carroll.
You were known around the center as the events chief, or in our words, the organizing queen. Your steadfast dedication to the center and deep understanding of what it provides to the people in our community inspires each of us to go gently and thoughtfully in every interaction. You bring an unmatched warmth to everything you do. Your fellow board members appreciate the gentleness and quiet calm you bring to details often overlooked by many of us. You graciously stepped up this past year to fill a board vacancy, immediately jumping in to organize and recreate the much needed procedural timelines and guidelines for the board's nominating committee, setting it on a successful trajectory. When our beloved Martha stepped down from her role as bookstore manager, it was you who quietly stepped in along with 2 other volunteers and took over the running of the bookstore. No easy feat. Not only do you operate the cash register and assist customers on the floor, but you are one of the primary buyers of the inventory. I know I'm not the only one who is excited to see the magic touch you'll bring to the new bookstore when it opens. And speaking of magic touch, I know I'm not the only one who is impressed with the fantastic job you did organizing and updating Edward's office. As a Capricorn myself, I know it doesn't come easy to trust someone to do the kind of job we would want done, but you did it. Edward expressed not only did you treat everything with respect, but you made his office space elegant, peaceful, and beautiful. You are the person who floats around the center doing one nice thing after another, oftentimes without being noticed. Alicia, today, and I'm going to miss you. I want you to know we notice you. We love you. We appreciate you and want you to know we consider you our angel of the center. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Alicia. To recognize and thank Lynn Rubush, I welcome Trustee Nancy Reynolds. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you. Lynn, on behalf of the trustees, the staff, and the entire center, I would like to thank you for your 4 years of service on the board. I have personally had the pleasure of serving with you for the past year, and I witnessed firsthand your dedication to and love for the center. In fact, when I asked some of your fellow trustees what they would acknowledge you for, every one of them mentioned your complete dedication to the center and to any task or project you've been a part of. And those have been many, possibly too many to list in the time allotted here. What stands out most, though, Lynn, during your service on the board is your work on and for the board nominating committee, which you all just saw as Lynn introduced our new board members. You did an extraordinary job on the committee this year and in introducing these members. You were a tremendous asset when the board needed to make big changes in how we nominate our new board members and elect board officers. And as the chair of the nominating committee for the 2 past years, you provided us, Lynn, with stellar leadership and a relentless commitment to finding the best candidates to serve on the board. You have shown us what an honor and a privilege it is to both serve on the board and to choose those who serve. But that's not all. In addition to your work on board projects and committees, you also volunteer in the bookstore and for special events at the center, and you are a key champion in our Nurturing Our Community program. I know there are many more things you've been involved in, but rather than list them all, I want to acknowledge this. Lynn, it's more than what you give your time to volunteer. You, Lynn, give your heart to everything you do in and for the center. You do things well, with enthusiasm, with a smile on your face, and you do them for the greater good. Lynn, thank you for the joy that you've shared with us. You're a true blessing to us and to the center. We will miss you. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Lynn.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now I introduce Trustee David Powers to thank myself, Ann Snyder.
Hi, everyone. It's such a bittersweet moment for all of us going through this, because all of the trustees that are leaving have such a big part of our hearts. Being on the board for 2 years now and having Ann as president, or as we call her, Madam President, of the board has just been absolutely amazing. She sets such a wonderful example of what service is, what commitment is, and what dedication is. She also serves on the choir, on the nominating committee. She volunteers in the bookstore. She volunteers in hospitality, and she does events with Nurturing Our Community. She is everywhere, it seems like sometimes. And it is absolutely amazing. She has unending energy, commitment, and heart. And that's what makes it so bittersweet. I know last year when I was talking to the board members when they were rotating off, they all kind of talked about how that it was not only bittersweet, but how that they were going through kind of withdrawals. And I know how attached you are, Ann, to your gavel. So I purchased this for you so that you wouldn't have to go through withdrawals. And I will get it to you as soon as I have your address. But we love you, and we appreciate so much everything you have done for all of us on the board and for all of us at the Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David. How wonderful. You knew I didn't really want to give up the gavel. Thank you. Okay. And now it's my pleasure to turn the meeting over to our Senior Minister, Dr. Edward Fillion.
Thank you very much. Well, that was very moving, and it's perfect for us for this very moving times. Every year I have to go through this withdrawal where every year I get to say farewell to 3 outgoing trustees and hello to 3 new. But we've really done something wonderful. I don't know if you caught that when President Ann was talking about the creation of the alumni group for the outgoing trustees, and we draw upon that group. Not only do they support each other in staying connected, but they provide advice, input, volunteering, all sorts of things. So we are learning as we are growing. I want you to know that, and I see some of you on the team, we have mobilized, and it was through a suggestion from practitioner Adrian Bowes, who is our practitioner for the board meeting today for the closing prayer, mobilized a team of volunteers to call every single member of our center. If you're on that calling team, won't you wave? There are some of you, and we've been making calls to people, and most of it is really, really wonderful. And as well as we are doing with staying connected and providing services, there are still some people, especially in our technologically challenged communities, who are feeling disconnected still. And so we're working on how to reach them. I have a plan that I'm going to discuss with Linda on one of these endless Zoom calls that I'm having. So that's happening. In the meantime, there are so many people participating in carrying this community through this current experience. Our video team, David Reichert, was incredible to jump in. So were the other members of the video team. For example, you saw David's work on the Treasurer's Report, and anytime I have a question for support, they are there in a heartbeat. And our sound team, Sam Hurley went to San Jose to help troubleshoot their sound so that they could have a synchronized video feed so that they could meet the needs of their community. Our music director, Christopher Fritchie, has been on the go. He just a moment ago recorded background music for me to be able to use under prayers, because I'm running into a little trouble with Facebook, I'll just move on from that. And he's also arranging with New Thought musicians who are gifting us their music, their original music, to put in our service. And you saw how that was today, and he's working behind the scenes. Reverend Tara Steele and Jeff Basham Reverend Tara Steele's been working tirelessly. She's moderating this group right now. She moderates the whole entire service, and with Jeff Basham, she's planning to experimentally have prayer rooms after our second service next week, because people are longing for their after service prayer. Reverend Tara is also working with the education department and other techno savvy people to train our teachers. And our teachers, they took 1 week off when the rest in place was announced. They were back with kicking and screaming, dragged into the 21st century and thriving as a result of it, and having classes online. All of our events, classes, meditation, support groups are all back on track virtually, except for nurturing our community. We're going to have to reschedule that unless we have a virtual nurturing. Reverend Tara says not a chance for that. Also, the stewards, the trustees, the giving intention group, the staff, the practitioners, and the people of the community are just standing up and doing their part because we love our center. We have tremendous value and in it, we believe in it, and together we are navigating through this together. So I couldn't be more delighted with what I'm seeing as a result of doing this, moving through this with you. And at the same time, I'm doing this work as the spiritual leader for Centers for Spiritual Living. And you can imagine centers all over our movement are facing the same kind of, how are we going to do this? And many, many of them are not in the position that we are to have such empowered, shared, distributed, inclusive leadership. So, I hold them in my heart. And our home office, we can also include them in our prayers, because as centers experience a bump in their financial well-being, that trickles down to home office. So it's a tender time for us and for the whole world, but based on the goodness I'm seeing all around me, I feel very optimistic indeed. Let's see, that's really all I have to say about that. You're welcome to always contact me and write to me if you've got a question about anything, or even type one in the chat box. But now it is time for me to formally induct the new board of trustees. And really, it's our tradition to do this. We charge each of our new board members, and all of us from today are new, we charge them to hold our center in trust. I love that expression. And then we on this call, and then the people who watch this recording, will be the witnesses of this ceremony. And we have an opportunity also to renew our commitment as members of the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa. So to set the tone for our new trustees who will be continuing their commitment or committing for the first time, I address you who are on the call and those who are listening to the recording. Do you commit to continue to be loyal and active and supporting of your spiritual center here at the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa to the best of your ability? And if so, please indicate your willingness by giving me a wave. Do you commit to continue in your own regular spiritual practice to the best of your ability, so as to contribute to a world that works for all? If so, please indicate your willingness by giving me this wave. And so now, to the new Board of Trustees, I welcome you. I welcome you to this induction ceremony. And we have people lined up to say something nice about each one of us and to charge you in your duties. And I do believe you have a little induction script. I'll tell you basically what's going to happen, just in the case you don't know. Somebody's going to introduce each one of the new trustees, going to say some lovely words of gratitude and appreciation to the person, about the value of their service and so on. And you can even give some advice if you want to. You have the microphone, why not? Everybody else is muted. And then at the end of your 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to end with a question. On behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold the center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? And then the new trustee says yes. And if you don't have that script, just let me know and I'll display it for you, okay? All right, so now the first person to be inducted will be our David Powers. So would you please unmute Elin Powers?
I will be inducting my husband, Dave Powers, to the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa Board of Trustees. And I want to thank Dave for serving on the board for the last 2 years and for being willing to help us again this next year. Dave brings not only his kindness, compassion, and good listening skills, but also his expertise in human resources and in business. On behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold this center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge?
Yes, I am.
If so, please say yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. We can appreciate both of them for that. Wonderful. And to charge Robin Zolotov, I call Dan Perun.
Robin's partner, I get to see firsthand and truly appreciate the service that she has given to the center over the past 2 years as existing trustee, and really appreciate her commitment to 2020 and the things that come in the new year. As her partner, I know her well, and my one piece of advice is to remind her always to trust her inner self, which has served her well for so many years, and she can truly count on. Thus, on behalf of the members and the community, I charge you.
Where's your script?
I charge you to hold this center in trust. If you accept this charge, please say yes.
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I'm liking this very much. I think that we could probably do this every year. It's so wonderful. To charge Nancy Reynolds, I call Reverend Tara Steele.
Last year, I told you that what I loved about Nancy was her yes to everything that she was called upon to do. And this year, I see a deeper, richer yes in Nancy. It's a yes that considers what is hers to do and grounds herself in those things which she is most gifted to support. And so, yay. On behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold this center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? If so, please say yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To charge Julie Burns, I call Silvana McCormick.
we are grateful for my mother, Julie's second year of her second term of service on the board and what she brings to this beautiful community, especially for her ongoing work to make our center accessible to the Spanish-speaking community here in Sonoma County and around the world. And I know that her thoughtful and open-hearted approach to everything she does will continue to be of great value on the Board of Trustees. And I would remind her to balance her time giving as a board member, community member, and most importantly, grandmother, with time spent replenishing her energy with rest and spiritual practice. And so on behalf of the members and the community, I charge you to hold this center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? If yes, please, if yes, so please say yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
To charge Bob Hart, I call Jan Davis.
I have to say, I'm just totally in awe of what you have done as the treasurer in this past year. I think you've really expanded that role far beyond what I've ever seen in the past. And I am touched and thrilled that you've brought your talent and your energy and your creativity to support the spiritual home that I love. I love you.
I love you too.
So on behalf of the members and the community and myself, I charge you to hold our center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To charge Barbara Froelich, I call Georgia Davis.
Hello. I'm grateful for Barbara Froelich for stepping into a board position which was open midterm and vacant. And I see the ways it has already grown and transformed you, Barbara. I look forward to how your dedication, love, wisdom, and service will grow and transform our loving spiritual community in the next year. On behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold this center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? If so, please say yes.
Yes, I am, humbly so.
Yay!
Thank you very much. To charge Mary Ann Granieri, I call Kathleen Kearney.
Hello. Of course, you have heard what Lynn Rudebush brought forth as the introduction to Marianne, but Marianne, you and I have known each other for 30 years. Isn't that amazing, over such amazing time and changes in our community? And here you are, still your sparkling, enthusiastic self, stepping into the welcoming team, which of course she dragged me into too. I shouldn't say dragged. I'm so happy. But, and also the AIDS bike ride. I think those are just fantastic ways that you are serving. And I look forward to what you will do on the board. And just take care of your sweet self. That would be my best advice. And that would be the big S self and the little s self, okay? So I want to ask you this. On behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold this center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? And if so, please say yes.
Yes, I am.
Yay.
Thank you so much. And to charge Kate Luna, I call Donna Hoover.
So I'm grateful to Kate for opening her heart and gracefully stepping into this position of service. I know her creativity and listening presence will be a gift to the board and to the center. So on behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold the center in trust. Kate, are you willing to accept this charge?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And to charge Dinah Wittrich. I call someone she knows very well, Walt Wittrich.
Dinah, I want to thank you for your decision to serve our center as a Board of Trustees member. Your professional experience and knowledge will be a great asset as a board member, and your compassion, caring, and kindness to everyone will surely be appreciated and valued by all. So on behalf of the members and community, I charge you to hold this center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? And if so, please say yes.
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much. And to charge me, I call forward Kevin Fillion.
Okay, scooch. Oh, okay. Edward, I'm so very lucky to get to see all the ways that you love this community, all the ways that you show up to support everyone, including your board, as they step deeper and deeper into service. And if I have any advice for you, it's to allow yourself to be beautifully supported by this board and by this community. So on behalf of the members of the community, I charge you and hold you in I charge you to hold the center in trust. Are you willing to accept this charge? If so, please say yes.
Yes.
And wave your hands.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your newly and recharged Board of Trustees, and why not have another wave of appreciation for that? And I turn this board meeting over to President Ann.
Our gathering is coming to a completion now, and I invite Adrienne Bose to pray us out. When she completes her prayer, our time together is adjourned until our formal meeting in the future. Adrienne?
So I would like to invite you all to breathe in with me, and in exhaling, know with me that God is present in and through all beings and all circumstances, and showing up today as the love and wisdom and information shared by all who attended live in the video format. That our resilience and our readiness to create this online meeting is just one way that we can demonstrate our care for our center and the caring for our center. I bless our leadership team, our new and departing board trustees, and everyone who was able to attend today. As we leave the gathering today, we no longer have to say, drive safely, but perhaps behave safely. Know that you're traveling with God as you always do. I'm moved and blessed by this whole gathering. I know this is true for each person, and I release this word where it is already in the heart of God. Amen.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you all.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, President Ann.